In 15 years' time, the world's biggest nuclear power plant may come up in India. Its location, Jaitapur in the Indian state of Maharashtra. And a story that may just be forgotten, or perhaps it's already forgotten, is about an anti-nuclear protest, one of the longest in the world, that took place almost 3,000 kilometers away from Jaitapur in a small village in the northeastern state of Meghalaya. This is the story of Domiasiat, a village of just 6 homes, its people, the battle for their rights, and the anti-uranium campaign led by the village matriarch Spillity Lyngdoh Langrin. Journalists, students and villagers running to save themselves from a lathi charge. This is what happened at a public hearing on the expansion of the road to the proposed uranium mining site in Domiasiat in 2019. The powerful Khasi Students' Union and the locals were opposing the road, which they alleged will facilitate uranium mining. This was the first instance of the anti-mining protest turning violent in the area. The outrage was simmering inside for decades. So how did it all begin? Here's a dateline which explains the sequence of events in this remote corner of India. 1975. The Atomic Minerals Directorate does aerial survey of Domiasiat and finds uranium. The early 80s, AMD, the Atomic Mineral Exploration Body of Government of India, begins exploratory drilling in the uranium-rich villages of Meghalaya. It's around this time that Spillity Lyngdoh Langrin, a farmer and a homemaker from Domiasiat, allows AMD to drill in her village. Little does she know that 2 decades later, she would go on to become the symbol of the anti-uranium mining protest in the region. But in few years, the mother of 6 kids starts noticing the visible after effects of mining. The water bodies were turning acidic. Women in her family were giving birth to stillborn. The cattle was dying. In the early 90s, Langrin for the first time says no to uranium mining and asks AMD to leave her land. But despite the opposition, in early 2000, the Uranium Corporation of India starts its pre-project survey. Tarun Bhartiya, a Shillong-based filmmaker, has been filming Langrin for a decade and a half. The videos Tarun shot with Langrin helped her voice reach out to the wider world outside her tiny village.
One of the officers had said that, these people, they don't understand. We are ready to pay them for the land we are going to lease. So I had asked them, how much are you going to pay them? Or how much have you offered to them? They said, 1.5 crore rupees per year for the 30-year lease, which is like 45 crore rupees. 45 crore rupees is quite a lot of money. So I just asked her, that why, they're offering you so much money. Why are you not selling to them or leasing them the land? And I remember she was walking. Old lady, but she walks very fast, and she went there, and their water source. She went near the water source, and she was standing there, and she said, why should I sell? Because will this money, and she pointed to the water source and the forest, will that money be able to buy this? Will the money be able to buy me freedom? And I thought that was one of the most inspiring things I have ever heard.
But not everyone is like Langrin. The lure of earning a lot of money, and really quick, soon turns the neighboring villages and clans against her. Her son-in-law NDCM recalls how she was abandoned by all to fight a very lonely battle.
ka UCL pada ka thong da wei u kan penyo spa ya ki ki don ki katukat me ki rangba snong ki rangba kur ki wat ki rangba balang ru ki balas ngeu bakalong ka jing men poi ban le kum ta hoi ha ka jing sisa ha ka to ka por kham tam ha ki snam ar hajar reu ar hajar nyau to ka por ba uta u breu u balawan ban pen thaba ya kini ki dong ki tanjungi baro ni lamat sibun ki jengsa kan tho ka jengsa ka dokti ha kini ki wat ki para marjan hang ni ro.
Confident about the support of other villages, in 2009 the Meghalaya government allows Uranium Corporation of India to mine in the neighboring Mothaba area. But soon, the influential Khasi Students' Union lends its support to the people of Domiasiat and their anti-uranium movement.
Kadang-kadang bagi isu katantong ya kata langkor penjadan bentalang mak kata kedong katanya berkawai. Namar ngisim balada ngin ailat kajeng tu banti uranium nak kata jaka. Kandai tang kawai kajeng kang ban saplino ban sati sikui pat jaka namar uranium semladan tang kata jaka.
By 2016, the people's movement led by Spillity Lyngdoh Langrin forces the government of Meghalaya to put a moratorium on uranium mining in the area. UCIL abandons the ambitious project. Over the years, the massive structures constructed specifically for uranium mining have crumbled. So has the memories of Domiasiat and its matriarch, Spillity. Four years later, May 2020, as the world battled with the first wave of COVID pandemic, a local news channel in Shillong, T7 News, decides to visit Domiasiat.
And the main purpose was to go to visit them, how they live during the pandemic, during the lockdown.
The crew is en route to Domiasiat for a COVID lockdown story, oblivious of the story they will eventually get, a story that will rattle the people in power. Domiasiat in southwest Khasi Hills is just 137 kilometers from the state capital Shillong. But it takes a back-breaking 6 hours to reach there. A small car can't handle these roads, so it takes a vehicle change. But for the last few kilometers, there's no other option but to walk.
My reaction at the time was like, Ari, how these people can live with that type of situation. There was no development at all. There was no water, no lights, no school, no mobile network, no political support, just because they have very less votes.
These are some of the snippets from what the T7 crew saw in Domiasiat and filed in their report. This was the last interview of Spillity. Even at 95, she was dead against uranium mining on her land.
May kulishibon, kuno vilong may, decline may, kuno vilong.
Baru kata lu yang tadi ada sangku ci, kau pensiun. Kalau sengan ni, kan harus sniu kan ya tada ni.
What the T7 crew sees in Domiasiat is appalling. It's no longer a lockdown story. It's a story of systemic neglect and vindictiveness. Locals say Domiasiat has been deprived of even basic development work, a price they say they are paying for saying no to uranium. The poles and wires are there, but no electricity runs through them. So all one sees are the solar panels which the villagers have put up themselves. When darkness falls over Domiasiat, this is what charges the mobile phones and lights up their homes.
Kalau tengah sukan mau bakal do house nam arjar katsau, arhajar katsau hitaraki ay ni arhajar kat lain yang ngam tip bahan re kalau do tika umte ngisutong bet na ki wa ki ayu la jong hi la ka kor te am.
The villagers have to walk for hours to reach the nearest motorable road. Till 2020, Domiasiat didn't even have a school.
Shinong po ka himalang rin ka badang long ka shinong ka bumdon school ka schoolless village ka day stang ka ne ka shinong Domiasiat ka chongi ka ba ngimdon school ten roi ka snam ar hajar nyaw pade namar bakadon ka public hearing na ka taw uranium ha ka ne jaka imat ka sarkar ka don ka thong ai persya asphang ka ta te kala pendu no ya ka school chongi hang ni.
Domiasiat has no drinking water supply. The villagers either depend on the rains or the children trudge through the hills to fetch drinking water. This is the only source of drinking water, a stream almost 2 kilometers away from the village. May 2020. T7 releases the video at the peak of the lockdown. As the views climb, the solidarity grows. The people of Meghalaya are appalled. They demand answers from those who have neglected Domiasiat all these years.
Phi habaya dai berkejing sadien ngila ban ong ba let's say kipor mensyang ngamla bentip namar bal da ki phau snam kila ya kato
atau kemudian jadi baki persya ini jadi uranium da ka sarkar ka banyak tukisna
jiksi sha kamdei habaya dai aduk katau put ban ong ba tang na kadau ba don katu ka jing persya benti uranium ben kentaj no ya ka development nong khmat akipor pemensua klem don kata kajing persyang benora yak to development hakito ki dong kita.
May 2021. Nothing much has changed in Domiasiat except this under construction school. The Meghalaya government is trying to hurriedly build it as a damage control measure. There's still no electricity or water supply. 28 October 2020. Just months after T7 shot with her, Spillity Lyngdoh died in her sleep. She was 98. On a rainy October afternoon, Domiasiat's grandmom, locally called Maid, who all her life fought for her freedom, was finally confined in a wooden casket. All her life, she fought for her right to live freely on her land. They say their maid or grandmom is truly free now. And with this, Spillity Lyngdoh became one with her land. The land she loved and fought for. This story was first reported by the local filmmakers and the news organizations based out of Meghalaya. We're trying this very unique experiment where we have tied up with these very filmmakers and news organizations to turn this story of fight against uranium mining into a full-fledged documentary. It is your support and financial assistance that gives us the courage to pursue stories like this. So become a member of the Quint and support our brand of independent journalism.
Thank you.